Hey, good morning to you. We fed the animals and done all of our things and showered, and we're kind of ready for some Bible study for just a moment. So, in Acts chapter 10, beginning in verse 9, we'd like to read just about 7 verses to you. Acts chapter 10, verse 9, as you turn there. Yesterday we shared with you about this Cornelius seeing this vision and God speaking to him and saying that he needed to send for this Simon, whose surname is Peter, that his questions were answered, his prayers were answered. And so down in verse 9 it says this: "The next day, as they went on their journey and drew near the city, Peter went up on the housetop to pray about the 6th hour. Then he became very hungry and wanted to eat, but while they made ready, he fell into a trance, and saw heaven opened and an object like a great sheet bound at 4 corners, descending to him and let down to the earth. In it were all kinds of 4-footed animals of the earth, wild beasts, creeping things, and the birds of the air. And the voice came to him, 'Rise, Peter, kill and eat.' But Peter said, 'Not so, Lord, for I have never eaten anything common or unclean.' And a voice spoke to him again the second time, 'What God has cleansed you must not call common.' This was done 3 times, and the object was taken up into heaven again." And so we stop there as we read, and we see that while Cornelius has sent men to Simon, now Peter is having this vision. God is preparing his heart. I want you to know that today God is preparing our hearts for those who would come to us to hear the great good news. You may be one that God is preparing your heart today just to share this great love. He may have to work in our lives, overcome some barriers. Peter had lived such a life and had done so much to try to make himself the way that he thought God would have him to be. "Not so, Lord, I've never eaten anything common or unclean." And yet God is reminding Peter that he is the creator of heaven and earth. All things were made by him, and he says when God cleanses it, you can't call it common anymore. And I'm thankful that God has cleansed me. I'm thankful that if you know Jesus Christ, you have been cleansed and you're not common. You are special. You are a child of the King. You are part of his chosen, if you would. And so this was done 3 times to make sure that Peter understood. Remember, Peter's one of those folks that the number 3 meant a lot to. Remember, he denied Christ 3 times. He heard the rooster crow twice before it crowed the 3rd time. He was called by Jesus, "Do you love me?" 3 times. And now he sees this vision 3 times. And so God is doing the work in Peter's life. I pray today that he's doing the work in your life also, that he's preparing you, and that you are willing to accept those that he would send to you, that they too might have the hope of heaven. Realize that without the cleansing of Jesus, none of us will see heaven. So we need this Jesus. They need Jesus as much as we do. Pray you have a great day, that you will consider your life and your walk this day. Know that you're loved, and God bless.